Good evening and welcome back, racing enthusiasts. It is time for round three of the TS3 Touring Cars Championship here at Trackstars Racing Series. We're about to light up one of the most iconic circuits in motorsports history. That is right. We are going to the land of the UK. We're going to England and we're going to a very well-renowned track, Brands Hatch. Nestled in the rolling hills of Kent in England, Brands Hatch is renowned for its challenging layout and exhilarating turns. This legendary track has been the battleground for countless racing legends, and today it's set to deliver yet another unforgettable spectacle. With its twists, turns, and elevation changes, Brands Hatch will test every ounce of skill from our drivers here tonight. From the dramatic Paddock Hill bend to the high-speed Dingle this circuit is a true test of bravery and precision. And with our championship rivals, Richard Robinson from Robo Sport Racing and Alex Badenhop from It's FR Racing, all tied up at 370 points coming into round three, the pressure is on to see who can master this demanding track and gain the upper hand in this title race. These two drivers are looking to cement themselves as the frontrunners of the TS3 Touring Cars Championship in 2024, but there are a handful of drivers behind them that are looking to spoil the party as we're about to get round three of Brands Hatch underway. Get ready for a day of high-speed thrills, strategic overtaking, and heart-stopping moments as we dive into the action of this legendary track. Hello and welcome. My name is Nicholas Paltasso, and as always, you've joined this coverage being broadcasted for free on the Trackstars Racing Series YouTube channel. So to make sure you are staying up to date with all things touring car racing in 2024, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, click that bell icon, and get notified when the premiere stream of the delayed broadcast goes live. Interact with the chat, give us a like and thumbs up, and share around with your family and friends. Your support means a lot to us. You definitely won't want to miss a second of the excitement here in 2024. Well, Brands Hatch is calling, ladies and gentlemen, so let's go racing as the cars cross the finish line as we're about to wrap up their 5-minute sessions. But before we get into that, let's dive into the track map here that we have on offer for round three. As I said, we're at Brands Hatch, nestled in Kent in England. The track length is about 3.916 kilometres, 9 corners around this circuit, with the longest straight coming at about 475 metres, which is the back straight going in towards Hawthorns Bend. We have two races here tonight. 13 laps around this beautiful circuit with a total race distance of 50.9 kilometres long. And last year's winner in 2023 was Tony Griffin from WTC Racing in the Lexus SC430. The car proved very strong, very durable, and very strong around this track. So will we finally see the Lexus up at the front again and continue that hot streak in 2024? We'll find it in due time as the cars cross the finish line and wrap up their 5-minute qualifying session here at Brands Hatch as we now go to the qualifying results that have been made official by the racing directors. So after the 5-minute session, it is all close between the top two, and it is Matt McCallum in pole position. I will be starting this race on pole position for CP Motorsport. So again, he's got 2 pole positions for the first 3 rounds in this championship, with the title contender Alex Badenhop in P2 and his rival Richard Robinson down in P7. So a lot of work to do for Robbo down in 7th place. Then we have the latest entry into the TS3 Touring Cars Championship. It is Max Silva for It's FR Racing. So watch out for him making his debut in TS3 Touring Cars in season 2024. And rounding up the second row of the grid, we have Nick Jones, the first of the Lexus for Sandstorm Racing. Then down in 5th place, we have Charles Nathaniel making his return to the TS3 Touring Cars Championship for It's FR Racing. Mark Hasseldine making his return after being absent around at Sardinia after his great performance back at Monza. He'll be looking to capitalise as he starts up in 6th position at the end of the 3rd row. As we said, Robinson's got a lot of work to do in 7th place. And then we have Chris Wallace in 8th place with PHE Sports. Then Simon Stockdale and David Smith, rounds up our 10-man grid here tonight. So a little bit off the pace for David Smith, but I'm sure he'll be able to try and capitalise and try and take any opportunity that he can to try and move up towards the front as fast as he can and try to get some great performance in that Honda NSX. The only Honda NSX is Drew Smith in car 21. So let's keep an eye on him very shortly as the race is about to go live. Very short, but as before we get to the race, we're going to be putting out some predictions, ladies and gentlemen. So let me know in the comments below in the live chat who you think you're going to predict, who you can predict who's going to win race 1 and race 2 here at Brands Hatch. It's going to be an exciting race. It's going to be a very tight circuit for overtaking. Going to be not so many opportunities for overtaking. So as they always say with the tracks such as Hungaroring and Monaco, any track that is very narrow and a very classic track that is Brands Hatch, you have to be the man on the front row that has to take the chances and take the victory. So we're going to be looking at either McCallum or Badenhop to be coming out of Paddock Hill and as the leader of this race. And at the exit of Druids, it's going to be one of those couple of corners. So we'll watch out and keep an eye on those drivers. But the cars are gridding up, and the man with the green flag at the back is ready to wave that flag. And there we go. Cars have lined up. They've done their formation lap. It is Matt McCallum and Alex Badenhop on the front row with Max Silver, the debutant, in for its FR in third, and Jones in fourth, the first of the Lexus. Can he keep the streak alive with the Lexus in fourth place as we wait for those 5 red lights? As the lights are about to go out, we have 4 lights and 5 lights. The revs rise here for round 3. It is lights out, green flag racing, so a great jump there by Matt McCallum as he gets the car onto the inside. Car 13 leads Badenhop down in P2 as we see a bit of an incident in the background that is involving Charles Nathaniel, and I believe that was one of the Lexus drivers. It was. That is actually Simon Stockdale, Mad Dog 76, and Nick Jones. So from P4 down to P8, there's the horrible start that he could get in that Lexus. Drew Smith has actually made a couple of positions after all of that, escaping the carnage of Turn 1 at Paddock Hill Bend, but that's been the cause of the first incident here at Trackstars in TS3 Touring Cars. So very unlucky for those drivers, but as we come towards Hawthorne Bend, it is Matt McCallum ahead of Alex Badenhop and ahead of Max Silver, our top 3, with Mark Hasseldine moving up to P4 in the opening stages, and Richard Robertson up into P5 now. So great start from everyone, very clean between the front few drivers, but just at the back there didn't look quite the best there. So hopefully we'll be able to see some post-race stewarding to see what happens with all those results. Past Sheen Kerr through to Sterling's. Matt McCallum leads the pack very comfortably there between the SFR boys in Badenhop and Silver. So Silver putting all the pressure on the net, on the tied position, or the tied leader of this TS3 Touring Cars Championship, Badenhop in P2. But at the end of lap 1 of 13, it is McCallum, it is Badenhop, and it is Max Silver, our top 3. With Mark Hasseldine, the first of the Lexus, right behind in P4, as Silver is really putting the pressure on the championship leader, but it does run wide there at Druids and struggling a little bit to keep up in that dirty air. So he's going to be looking to try and make some moves very soon. A very nice start there by Mark Hasseldine as well in the Monster Energy inspired Cameron Waters V8 Supercars livery in 4th place. But Richard Robinson, he knows he's got a championship fight in his hands here. He knows Badenhop is all the way up there in P2, and he's got himself a really nice exit out of Surtees. Can he throw the car on the inside line? He's not going to do it, so Robinson's going to have to go around the outside up into P4, and it looks like he's just given up the position there. So I think he knows that his race is not with Robinson. His race is with the drivers behind him. So I think Mark Hasseldine really doing the sensible thing there, not fighting too much for Robinson, because he knows that Robinson is a net first in this TS3 Touring Cars Championship, as he just runs wide there, does Hasseldine through Sheen Curve, but gets up nicely, holding on to P5 ahead of Chris Wallace in the PHE Sports Lexus. But Robinson has got a lot of work to do now. He's got 11 laps to try and catch up to Silver and to Badenhop and the race leader, Matt McCallum, who's still leading this race and very comfortably leading in P1 at the moment. And unfortunately, with the drivers out the back there, we saw with Charles Nathaniel at the exit of Paddock Hill Bend, he's down in P7 at the moment, but he's got a good gap between himself and Jones at this current stage in 7th and 8th place. And it's just really about just settling in now. You're 3 laps down. It is a very short track. We are setting lap times of a 1 minute 17.8 set by Matt McCallum, so it's actually the fastest we've seen the cars in the TS3 Touring Cars Championship after the previous rounds at Monza and Sardinia, as we have an incident here involving Drew Smith. Looks like he's made a mistake at the exit of Paddock Hill. Yes, he has. So looks like he's struggling a little bit to get the hands at the grips of the Honda NSX there. So car 21 really struggling a little bit as he's just try to navigate it. And trust me as I say, ladies and gentlemen, the Honda NSX is not the easiest car to drive. It is quite a tricky car, so I've got to give full credit to Drew Smith to handling this car and also keeping it and trying his best to keep it on the track there. But as I see it on the track map there, he is struggling quite a fair bit. So he's actually a little bit far back coming up towards the end of Sector 1 and towards Sector 2, while the leaders are just gone past Paddock Hill Bend up towards Druid. So they all need to be careful of Drew Smith because he's slowly trying to get the grips of the Honda NSX. But Chris Wallace, an Unchained Chief in P6 of PH Esports, is closing a little bit to Mark Hasseltine, but not enough to pressurize him at this current stage. But we can see up ahead with Robinson, you can tell he's starting to close that gap between himself and Silver quite a fair bit, actually. So it looks to be around about a 5.5 second between himself and Silver. But with the top three really battling themselves out and really just concertina between them, we can see Robinson getting a bit of a fight back. But so far, Silver setting the fastest lap with a 17.6. And he's looking to put pressure on Badenhop. So with Silver's debut in the TS3 Touring Cars Championship, he knows that he looks like he's got a little bit more pace than Badenhop. So I wonder what happens here between the two teammates. Obviously, I wonder if Silver rather knows about the championship predicament that we have with Badenhop and Robinson. So if he can keep it ahead of Robinson, that'll definitely help Badenhop with the championship at the end of this first race. But also, he's got a lot of pace to burn those. As we can see, he's pressurizing the Dutchman and McCallum really stretching his legs in that CP Motorsports car 13. But with Jones right back there at the moment, he's struggling a little bit to get the cars, and he's coming under pressure from Stockdale. But back up towards the front there, we can still see the two teammates in the ITSFR camp really duking it out there. And at the background there, as they exit Graham Hill Bends, you can see Robinson was not too far behind as well. So he looks like he's closed the gap a little bit between them, but it's still a long way to go to the end of this race. Even though it feels like a fast circuit and the racing is intense, the lap times do fall pretty quickly, as we see Drew Smith on the exit of Hawthorne Bend going in towards Westfield Bend. He's just parked the car up on the left-hand side, so not getting in anybody's way there. So still struggling a little bit with the Honda NSX. So he looks like he's done the right thing to not get in anybody's way. Obviously, you can't overtake with the yellow flags, otherwise you will get yourself an unfortunate 3-second penalty next to your name with the Gran Turismo 7 yellow flag conditions. Badenhop doing a really good job there in P2. He is holding position, and I don't think Silver's really putting any pressure to make a move on his fellow teammate in P2. But the more they hold each other up, the more pressure they're going to get from Robinson right behind down in P4. So we do need to keep an eye out on Robbo, who's holding up into P4 as these two are duking it out there. But I wonder what's going to happen in this situation. Would you let Silver go? Would you let him have a go and have the best chance of trying to get towards the back end of McCallum? Or do you just be the bodyguard and just try and defend from Robinson when he comes eventually? As we go yellow flags here, as one of the drivers has gone through. It is one of the drivers, it's an FR driver, that is actually Max Silver. So that's a costly mistake there by the debutant on the exit of Surtees. I did not see his name tumbling down the order as we've got towards the camera there. But that is Max Silver, who was putting pressure on Badenhop, has dropped down to P7 after a mistake running wide on the exit of Surtees, clipping onto the curbing and onto the grass, and he just got too much paddle down in the car 27, drops down to P7. That's a huge mistake by the ITSFR driver. I was saying earlier that if he actually got let go by Badenhop, he may have had a chance to fight for the victory in race 1, because it is still early stages in this TS3 Touring Cars Championship, because we know McCallum is one of the strongest, is a strong driver for CP Motorsports, and even though he's down the order in the championship, you will need to keep an eye on him. And so far, lap 7 of 13, it looks like he is in prime position to take victory in race 1, but Badenhop is closing a little bit. Now he doesn't have the pressure from Silver in 3rd place, has now dropped down to P7 behind his other teammate in Charles Nathaniel. 1 minute 17.205 is the fastest lap from car 13 in Matt McCallum. And then we're down here, right down the back there. So very unfortunate between these two drivers, the Lexus drivers, in both Jones and Stockdale, who were actually caught up in that lap one, turn one incident. No fault of their own. It's just wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately. And the two Lexus drivers that were starting right up towards the pointy end of this race are now down towards the back, unfortunately, 8th and 9th place respectively. Car 7, definitely what Jones doesn't want in his debut TS3 Touring Cars Championship, and the man has been putting all that was looking as a star back in round 2 at Sardinia, but is putting all the pressure on McCallum and really taking the challenge and the fight towards Robinson and Badenhop back at Monza and Sardinia as well. Unfortunately, just this track bites. It's a very narrow track. All mistakes happen, and you have to keep the car on the tarmac. As we see a car that's gone spinning around there at the exit of Paddock Hill, that is Unchained Chief in Chris Wallace in 7th place, who's now looking to lose another position. He lost the position to Nathaniel and Silva. Now it looks like he's going to lose the position to Jones, right back down in 8th place. Can he hold it around the outside? He does. So nice move there by Jones in P7. Can Stockdale follow him through as they are going side by side as they go through Surtees? Some nice racing between the Lexus drivers. And it looks like Jones has made the move stick. Can Stockdale make the move before they get towards Hawthorne as they're going down, plummeting down there, plucking through the gears up towards 6th gear? And Stockdale around the outside as we have another yellow flag up ahead there. I believe that looks to be Drew Smith on the outside, facing the wrong direction. And yes, that was Drew Smith there back in the Honda NSX. So really, really struggling, unfortunately, in this first race. So we'll hope to see if we can have a better race two for the man in the Honda. But Jones, a nice move around the outside, 17.558 as his personal best. So he's not far off the pace of what we saw with McCallum and the rest of the other drivers, but he's just in the wrong place, unfortunately, down in P7, just outside the top 5. Start looking up towards the field there, we can see so at the start of lap 9, it is McCallum, it is Badenhop, it is Robinson, our podium getters so far. As we can see, Nathaniel getting all loose there at the end of Surtees. So Surtees is providing a real struggle here for our drivers tonight. It's caught out Nathaniel, and it has caught out Max Silva down in P6. So what is he going to do now? Can he get the move done on his teammates around the outside? No, he doesn't. He's just going to stick back. You can't really make any moves here as well. It is such a narrow track. You have to wait patiently. Obviously, you might have a teammate in front of you or behind you, but you just need to be patient, I suppose. It's just about waiting for the opportune time, wait for them to run wide onto the grass there, and pounce when you can. Obviously, for Nathaniel's case, he did run wide at Surtees, but Silva wasn't close enough to capitalize and get past him, so he's stuck behind him. His teammate in the 589 yet again in P5. Max Silva still down to P6, so he needs to try and make his way through the field. I don't think he's going to get any more positions with 4 laps to go to the end of this race, which is being led by McCallum, Badenhop in P2, and Robertson in P3. Both of their ITFR cars running wide at Druids. I wonder if Nathaniel was actually looking to concede that position to Silva in P6, as he's got a lot more pace, and you could just see there at the exit of Grave Hill Bend how much more confident he is on the exit there. And unfortunately that's an unfortunate spin there for Nathaniel. Looks like he got a bit spooked by his teammates, unfortunately. So drops down to P6, but he's got a few Lexus drivers right behind there. There's Jones, there's Stockdale. They're going to look to try and see if they can close up to Nathaniel as quickly as they can before the end of this race. So we're going to have a nice little juicy battle for P6 towards the end of this race as we look back up towards the front. It is McCallum who has led from pole to the end of lap 10 to start lap 11 of this race. He's been doing a fantastic job, a very clean race by the CP Motorsports driver in P1. Badenhop has got the position that he needs in this championship fight, that is being ahead of Richard Robinson in P3, and Mark Hasseldine on his return to TS3 Touring Cars down in P4, but a very nice P4 would be the first Lexus in that top four. And then we have Max Silver, Charles Nathaniel, Nick Jones, and then we have Simon Stockdale rounding up in 8th place. And then unfortunately, Chris Wallace down in 9th. And Drew Smith rounding up our top 10 as we're coming towards the conclusion of race one here for the Trackstars TS3 Touring Cars Championship. It is all tight for the battle for P6 at the moment. Jones is closing a little bit to Charles Nathaniel. Nathaniel has been making a few mistakes in race one, so an extra one. So maybe another mistake for Nathaniel, and the three Lexus drivers right behind will be able to gain a position on the SFR Nissan ahead of him. See with the track map as well, there's not too much battling. It's very well spread out as well, so everyone's really finding their feet here in race one, as we saw very similar with Sardinia and Monza. We did see the first race of the championships, whether it was at Monza or Sardinia, we saw the gaps really opening up in that first race, but then when it got to the second race, it was actually a lot closer and a lot tighter. So maybe, just maybe, around Brands Hatch, now the drivers are familiar with their cars and they're actually familiar with the conditions of the track here in the beautiful city of Kent in England. They might be able to get themselves a little bit closer when it comes to race two, and they might be able to have a few more battles in this championship fight for race two for the TS3 Touring Cars Championship. But we're on board with car 12 in Simon Stockdale, chasing and hunting down Nick Jones through the bonnet cam as he goes up towards Druids on lap 12 of 13. So exiting the corner, use a bit of the curbing, fling the car to the right and then cut it back to the left as quickly as you can. Go over the curbing on the exit of Graham Hill Bend as you come up towards Surtees. Keep the car right and then just tuck it in at the end of turn 4 and then set yourself up for a very nice run there up towards the Pilgrims Drop and Hawthorne Hill towards turn 5. It's a very hard spot to find your braking zone there, but usually it's about the timing sector. When the timing sector lights up, that's probably your braking marker as he exits Hawthorne's Bend down to Westfield Bend, turn 6, and then this long, never-ending right-hander of Dingledale towards Sheen Curve, turn 7. Clip your curbing, run the car as wide as you can, not too much onto the grass, then onto turn 8 at Stirling's as you pluck through the gears under the bridge, under the Anvan Bridge, and towards Clark Curve for the last time to complete lap 12 and onto the final lap of this race one here at Trackstars TS3 Touring Cars. There's a very nice lap there by Stockdale, very clean, very well executed by the privateer in P8. But back up towards the front now, what can we say about Matt McCallum? He has been absolutely faultless in round 3, so he wants to get this he wants to get his championship fight back on track after a couple of disappointing rounds and a couple of fight back rounds that he's had to do in the Italian leg at Monza and Sardinia. He's now looking to put an exclamation mark to that and say, I'm here to fight for this championship, Badenhop and Robinson. You can add an extra name to this championship fight as he exits Stirling's and comes up towards Clark Curve for the last time in race 1 for the Trackstars TS3 Touring Cars for round 3. It is going to be lights to checkered flag for Matt McCallum and CP Motorsports taking the victory and the race 1 for Trackstars TS3 Touring Cars. Round 3, very nicely done there by Matt McCallum and the team at CP Motorsports. Badenhop gets the edge over Richard Robinson in this championship fight, but Robinson, after a good fight back from P7 to P3, very nicely done there by the veteran for RoboSport Racing in P3. Mark Hasseldine rounds up in P4. Very nice, handy return for him in position 4. Then Max Silver in 5th place as we have that battle pack. The battle pack for P6 has just been led by Jones. Charles Nathaniel, then Jones, then Stockdale, then Wallace and Drew Smith. Unfortunately, 3 laps down for Drew Smith, so a very hard time for the rookie and the Honda NSX. But there's our race 1 results, ladies and gentlemen. It is Matt McCallum and CP Motorsports getting the full 100 points next to his name. Alex Badenhop and Richard Robertson rounds up our podium. So as I said there, the gaps have opened up between the drivers. We'll be looking to have a bit of a race 2 where the gaps would be closing, would want to close, and we'll get a tighter race for the TS3 Touring Cars Championship. But unfortunately, in breaking news, we won't be able to let our viewers and audience members know we actually won't be having a race 2 championship to broadcast to you, unfortunately. Due to an unfortunate DC from the lobby hosts at the time, where the series admin team tried to revert to a 5-lap sprint where they completed 8 laps of 13. So we weren't at the 75% mark yet. So when it gets to a 75%, that's when we would classify the race. So we only had 5 more laps of racing to do, where we would be using the Gran Turismo 7 rolling start. And due to a game glitch, obviously we won't see it from these replays, but unfortunately due to a glitch with the rolling start, it actually unfortunately catapulted Matt McCallum to his AI Nissan GTR was in full control at full speed. That when the race went underway, unfortunately the AI speared him into the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend and causing a monumental crash for the CP Motorsports driver. Unfortunately, not only and unfortunate out of his hands as well. So with that bug, unfortunately, with the AI car randomly giving him a full throttle and crashing him into the barriers, it resulted in him having no control at all in turn one and being seconds away. And he was actually a fair distance away from everybody else. He was around about 4 to 5 seconds clear from a P2 in Badenhop. So bit of a weird glitch that we have seen on Gran Turismo 7. This is the first time we've actually seen this in Gran Turismo history. So amongst ourselves in the Trackstars Racing Series Edmonton, we feel for the integrity of the league that this matter was out of control for the DC, the rolling start glitch. So in the fairness to the drivers that competed in TS3 and for the drivers that compete in our series, the Trackstars Racing Series, we will be giving a leeway to Article 6.1 in our touring cars rulebook and actually classify the race order from the end of lap 8, and all the drivers will be given full points. So as we have those race 2 points available for us. So this is what it looks like at the end of race 8, but I will give you a bit of a debrief of what happened before we actually had the DC. So it was Matt McCallum that did start on pole position and Badenhop in P2. We did see those two drivers duking it out side by side in the first few laps, but then Matt McCallum really stretched his legs and really cemented himself as a driver that was ready to fight for this TS3 Touring Cars Championship. So he actually led Badenhop by a fair margin, setting the fastest lap after fastest lap, and Badenhop with his teammate in Max Silva and Robinson right behind there. But unfortunately, as you can see there in the results there, Richard Robinson finishing down in P9. Bit of contact was made between himself and Max Silva at the exit of Druids as they were duking it out for the last step of the podium. Unfortunately no reports can be made with a DC lobby. So unfortunately for Robinson, it was just wrong place, wrong time for him, and he drops down to P9, and that's going to be a huge blow to the championship fight at the end of this race. But so far with his results from Monza and Sardinia, it'll definitely keep him in that championship fight and try and keep it as close as he can towards his rival in Badenhop in P2. But in saying that, McCallum does take the victory, and unfortunately, in the fairness of Trackstars Racing Series, we will go with these results here at the end of lap 8, and we will give the drivers their points. So it is McCallum that takes the clean sweep here at Brands Hatch. Alex Badenhop in P2, and Nick Jones from P7 to P3, a much better result by the Sandstorm Racing driver in the Lexus SC430. Max Silva in 4. Simon Stockdale rounds up the top 5. Mark Hasseldine for Hassel 1 Motorsport in P6. Chris Wallace, Charles Nathaniel, Richard Robinson, and Drew Smith rounds up our 10-man field here tonight at Brands Hatch. So it has been some exciting racing. It's been an exciting race 1. Drivers really trying to settle in. Race 2, I will say, I was a lot closer this time round. But unfortunately, a few mistakes and an unfortunate DC ruined the chances of being able to broadcast race 2 of this race, but of this championship. But as we go towards the round 3 results, it is McCallum with the full clean sweep of 200 points, an extra 30 points, 30-point advantage over Badenhop in P2. And the drivers behind equal third place, Max Silva and Nick Jones, third and fourth place. So very close between all the drivers there, between our top 10. And unfortunately, with Drew Smith right down in 10th place, only 112 points and a few points behind, 8 points behind Chris Wallace in the PHE Sports Lexus. So as we go to the end, as we go towards the championship here for the conclusion of round three, a very short coverage of round three of the TS3 Touring Cars Championship. This is how it stands with Alex Badenhop for its FR now cementing himself as the championship leader after leading this championship in the touring and at the end of Monza. He now cements himself as the official championship leader ahead of his rival in Richard Robinson, 37 points ahead of Robinson, and Matt McCallum has catapulted himself up into P3 and is now getting himself in this championship fight, 66 points behind Badenhop in position one. Then it's Nick Jones, Simon Stockdale, very close quarters between them, as well as Chris Wallace keeping the consistency for PHE Sports, looking to try and capitalize on any mistakes that the top five make and slowly move himself up towards the front of this championship. Then it is Mark Hasseldine, Drew Smith up into P8. Muller Rothman, unfortunately, we did not see tonight in the Kiwi Pit Lane Sim Racing Lexus. And Sean Smith, who will actually be away for a little while for MC Motorsports, a Nissan GTR down in 10th place. So very unfortunate to not see Sean Smith there. He has been suffering a few game problems with his console and with his connection to Gran Turismo 7. So we might not see him for a little while, but hopefully when we do see him back in this championship, we're going to be very excited to see the MC Motorsport driver who put on a star performance in Sardinia. Unfortunately, not to miss Brands Hatch, but hopefully we'll be able to get to see him in the next round, which will be round 4 for the New York Sprint at Watkins Glen International on September 8th. So the drivers in TS3 Touring Cars have a nice little break. The next time we will be seeing some broadcasting will be for the TS2 Touring Cars at the Daytona Road Course next weekend. And on the delayed broadcast, you'll find all the coverage for the main series and the TS2 Touring Cars Championship for their respective round at Daytona Road Course. But for TS3, the next time you'll see them is Watkins Glen International. We'll be using the short version of this track here, so it'll be very exciting to use the short version of Watkins Glen for TS3 Touring Cars. September 8th is the next round. So if you want to be a part of this TS3 Touring Cars Championship, jump on our Track Stars Racing Series Discord channel. You might be able to find yourself amongst the field of these talented drivers. You might be able to throw yourself your name into contention of this championship or getting into the top 5 of this Touring Cars Championship, where it is so close between Badenhop, Robinson, and now we have McCallum coming to play here at the end of round 3. So Badenhop clean sweeps round 1, Robinson clean sweeps round 2, and McCallum clean sweeps round 3. Who will clean sweep round 4? Where we see another victor here in Track Stars Racing Series, or will we see the usual top 3 in this championship take race victories at Watkins? We'll find it in due course. But until then, thank you so much for tuning into this broadcast. We do apologize to our wonderful audience on the Track Stars Racing Series YouTube channel for not being able to present you race 2 of the TS3 Touring Cars at Brands Hatch. Unfortunately, due to the disconnect and the technicality problems that we had in the lobby at the time, it is a very unfortunate thing to happen. Mistakes do happen, and unfortunate with the Gran Turismo service always playing up a little bit once in a while. I guess in a way, it is what it is, and the drivers have full respect. They respect the admin's decisions, and we are ready to go. And they are pretty much ready to go for Watkins Glen. So let's hope and let's keep our fingers crossed for a stable connection. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed for another exciting race at Watkins. But until then, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this short stream, subscribe, and click the bell notification to the Track Stars Racing Series YouTube channel. But until September 8, where we go TS3 Touring Cars Championship Racing, we'll see you guys in the not too distant future for all the delayed broadcast of the main series in Track Stars and the TS2 Touring Cars Championship over the next week. But until then, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time for TS3 Touring Cars.